Welcome back to Research TV. In this video, I'm going to show you 8 most dangerous natural occurring disaster on planet Earth. Before we start, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos. Now, let's dive in. 1. Tornadoes. This occur when humid, warm air collides with dry, cold air, creating an updraft that begins to rotate and fuel powerful winds. They often occur before or during a thunderstorm. Tornadoes themselves are less deadly than a lot of people think. Most victims are actually struck by flying debris rather than the actual tornado. There are about 1,000 tornadoes in the US annually, averaging 80 deaths per year. Worst tornado in history. The deadliest tornado was the Daulatpur Saturia tornado in Bangladesh in 1989. The tornado traveled about 50 miles, and wind speed reached 260 miles per hour. The death toll was around 1,300 victims, and another 12,000 civilians were injured. 2. Earthquakes. This occurred due to friction between tectonic plates. If plates get stuck and collide, compress, or move a certain way, it sends energy to the surface. The movement we feel is what we know as an earthquake. Most earthquakes occur along the Pacific Ocean, where there is a lot of seismic activity. Some earthquakes are stronger than others, and the Richter scale measures earthquakes from 0 to 10. Worst earthquake in history. The most deadly earthquake in history occurred in Shaanxi, China, in 1556, which killed around 830,000 people. This earthquake has a magnitude of 8. The deadliest earthquake in recent years had a magnitude of 7 in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, in 2010, resulting in around 316,000 fatalities. The strongest earthquake was a 9.5 and happened in Chile in 1960. 3. Extreme cold. Extreme cold refers to temperatures at or below -35 degrees Fahrenheit with winds under 5 miles per hour, according to the U.S. National Weather Service. Worst cold wave in history. In the winter of 1936, the United States experienced its most intense cold wave, the North American cold wave. Midwestern states, like Nebraska and North and South Dakota, were hit the hardest. Temperatures reached -60 degrees Fahrenheit. 4. Extreme heat. Extreme heat, or heat waves, occur when high atmospheric pressure pushes warm air toward the planet's surface. Extreme heat lasts for an extended period, typically 2 to 3 days, and requires the body to work incredibly hard to maintain its normal temperature. Extremely high temperatures can cause heat-related illnesses such as cramps, rashes, fainting, exhaustion, and stroke. Worst heat wave in history. According to the Guinness World Records, the deadliest heat wave was in Russia in 2010. The heat wave caused 56,000 deaths from overheating, forest fires, droughts, smog, and people drowning when trying to cool off in rivers and lakes. The highest temperature reached was 111.2 degrees Fahrenheit. The hottest heat wave occurred in California in 1913. Temperatures in Death Valley reached 157 degrees Fahrenheit. 5. Volcanic eruption. Volcanic activity is constantly occurring worldwide. However, we only hear about it when a significant eruption occurs. A volcanic eruption is when gas and lava are released from a volcano. Significant eruptions usually result in deaths, damage to cities, cause tsunamis, or are related to seismic activity. Worst volcanic eruptions in history. Some of the worst eruptions in history have been the 1883 eruption of Krakatoa in Indonesia with 36,000 deaths, the 1902 Mount Pelée eruption in Martinique with 30,000 deaths, and the 1985 Nevado del Ruiz eruption in Colombia with 23,000 deaths. 6. Hurricane, typhoon, and cyclone. The only difference between these 3 storm events is the location. Hurricanes happen in the North Atlantic and Northeast Pacific Oceans. Typhoons take place in the Northwest Pacific. Finally, cyclones arise in the South Pacific and the Indian Ocean. These events can create wickedly strong winds, heavy rain, and severe flooding and cause death and mass destruction. Worst hurricane and cyclone in history. The most deadly hurricane in the U.S. was the Great Galveston Storm in Texas in 1900, with over 8,000 deaths. The worst cyclone was in the 1970 Bula cyclone that struck East Pakistan and India's West Bengal. There were between 300,000 and 500,000 fatalities. 7. Flooding. The second most dangerous natural disaster is a flood. Flooding occurs when water covers an area that is usually dry. There are several causes of floods: dam failures, excessive rain, hurricanes, tsunamis, or fast melting snow. Most fatalities occur when floods happen with little to no warning. Some can take hours to develop, while others emerge suddenly. Most flooding occurs in seaside. However, anywhere that experiences intense rainfall or sudden dam breaks can undergo flooding. Worst flood in history. The deadliest flood in history happened in China in 1931. It's known as the Yangtze Huai River flood and devastated the population. The highest estimated death toll is 4 million people. 8. Drought and famine. Droughts are conditions drier than normal that occur when there is a prolonged stretch of abnormally low or no rainfall. During droughts, there are water shortages and crop damage. Famine is when a population faces an extreme scarcity of food, leading to extreme hunger, starvation, and death. Famine is frequently caused by drought and limited crop supply. However, there are other causes like insect infestation, flooding, and other natural disasters. Poorer countries often face more famine, while drought can occur anywhere. Worst drought and famine in history. One of the worst droughts in the U.S. happened during the 1930s Dust Bowl period. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration estimates that 50 million acres of land were affected. The deadliest famine in history happened in China between 1959 and 1961. It's known as the Great Chinese Famine. 15 to 55 million deaths occurred due to the famine.